is Analog Spectrum. In this episode, our resplendent hosts explain why the sky is blue, the grass is green, and salt is salty. And once they're done, I'll explain why I need lots of alcohol to get me through my day.
Recording.
All right. Holy shit. Another format change.
I know, right?
Crazy. So this is Tony, and I'm here with Doug, and this is the Analog Spectrum, and we're back in the same room. We both agreed that we kind of prefer this anyway, actually, talking face-to-face. And regrettably, in the place of Andrew is a camera that sits across the room.
I don't know how regrettable that is, actually.
I don't know. How's he doing?
Yeah.
Have you talked to
him?
him?
He's fine. Yeah. He's starting to get back into the swing of school, the routine and all that stuff. So
yeah, he's back in Arizona, right? Yeah. So, but so we're going to record a few podcasts today, get them posted. I think right now, Doug and I started watching 1883. Oh, and I wish I brought my phone. I got it right here, just so I can remember people's names. But I want to make sure that we talk about, it's the whole thing, that character and that guy and that person. But I can easily bring my phone up and look at it. But anyway, we watched 1883. And maybe just a little bit of context here. And before I go any further, it's been out for about 2 years. We are going to get deep into details.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you haven't
Big
seen
time
it,
spoilers.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, you need to stop right now. I don't even know why people even say that anymore. But this is something, I guess, that is built on the Yellowstone universe, the Kevin Costner show. I don't know what service it's streaming on, but it's not on Paramount. That's where I saw 1883.
Yeah, that's for 1883 and 1920 or
1923, something like that. Yeah. I watched the first 2 seconds of that. Yeah, I love Helen Mirren.
Yeah, I watched the first episode.
But yeah. So anyway, but for those not in the know, I was gonna say I watched the first episode of Yellowstone, and everybody around me was like, "Yellowstone, man, it's the greatest show ever. You gotta watch Yellowstone. It's so good." And I was like, "That's all right." I mean, it's reminding me of Dallas.
Oh, really?
Well, it's a soap opera, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, it's totally a soap. The thing that I thought about Yellowstone was I think I might have caught that kind of at the wrong time. I'm a huge Kevin Costner fan. I like virtually everything he's done, including Waterworld and including The Postman, which he gets panned for. But I like them both. I really did. But I think I caught that at the wrong time because I caught it kind of, only a month, maybe 2 months after I watched Longmire.
Okay.
And God, Longmire was just awesome. Right. And then I watched the first episode of this, and with the exception of a couple of things, like the opening scene where he has to shoot the horse, that's great, man. That was a great scene. But then as they started to set the stage for Yellowstone, where it was, and he's arguing with the Native American tribe, and I thought, man, this is like a total ripoff of Longmire.
Well, the interesting thing about him arguing with the tribe, and the maker of 1883 clearly, he builds universes, and I'm going to jump right to the very end scene in 1883 that one Native American told him, you can move in this property, but in 7 generations, we're coming for your land.
Back, yeah.
And I imagine it was kind of a nod to that. I imagine.
Yeah, I think so. But at the end of the day, I just this is just a personal take on it. I just thought to myself, this is way too much like Longmire. Longmire, yeah. Which I thought was absolutely brilliant. Like everything about that was good because it was a real cool mix of like old school cowboyish stuff. It also took place in Wyoming, but it had a lot of new stuff in it. He was the sheriff, and one of his deputies was running against him for sheriff. And so there's a little bit of political stuff, not a lot, but a little bit, to mix it up. But the whole thing with the American Indian tribes and the, and the reservation and stuff, and who has jurisdiction and how poorly America has treated the Indians and all of that stuff is all, all of those things are mixed in there. And of course, Yellowstone is built on that same premise. And so, I don't know, I just caught it at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it. But then when somebody had said that they made some prequels, my wife loved Yellowstone. So I'm like, all right, I'll sit through and, I'll see what it's like. And anyway, so we'll pick up 1883 from there.
Nice. And so, it's 10 episodes, right? 10 episodes, yeah. And probably so, each episode kind of has its own story, but the whole concept is that there is uh, sometime after the Civil War, probably 1865, whatever, ended. There's an individual, I believe he lived in Tennessee, James Dutton,
Mm-hmm.
and his wife. They decide that they're going to resettle in Oregon, so they meet in Fort Worth, Texas, and hook up with a wagon train of Dutch Germans.
Mm.
And
Well, that
German.
wasn't their plan, though,
It
right? Their
wasn't.
plan
It
was
wasn't
just
a
to
plan.
go.
It was,
Yeah.
but this show has got the ever awesome Sam Elliott in
Sam
it,
Elliot.
and so there's always multiple stories going on simultaneously. He plays Shay Brennan, and Shay was hired by these. I say Dutch German. They seem Dutch. Could have
Mm-hmm.
just been German. They were definitely German.
Yeah.
Were hired by him to uh, caravan them in a wagon train from Texas to Oregon, and he ends up linking up with them. He's got a daughter, family. It's James Dutton is played by Tim McGraw, and his wife in real life plays his wife in the TV show Faith Hill.
Faith Hill, yeah.
Yeah, and so and so it's about their journey of their family going from Fort Worth, Texas, to are heading towards Oregon.
To Oregon, yeah.
And I think the show does its best within that kind of drama to give you a very realistic
Mm.
feeling. It reminded me a lot of Lonesome Dove,
Yeah.
because it had that kind of very realistic, well, 1,000 Ways to Die in the West.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I don't know if we want to get into like each episode or just kind of talk about the
Well,
overarching story.
I'm not sure I'm versed well enough in each episode. I
Yeah.
remember the story
Yes.
well enough.
There were standout moments, definitely.
Yeah. Well, so let me just say this, because I know that you and I have been avoiding this conversation for the last week until we could get on the podcast. But I will just say right up front, not that this is completely up front, but close enough.
Right.
This is probably the best thing I've watched in 10 years.
Okay.
That's my opinion of this. I think it's just about. I can't remember anything that I watched in the past 10 years that has struck me as genuine as this.
Okay.
From every angle, from the production of it, the storytelling, the story itself, I thought was great.
Mm-hmm.
I know you and I had just a couple of brief comments about what's her face, May. What's her name?
The daughter.
Yeah, she's played by Isabel May.
Yeah, Elsa.
Yeah,
who also does the voiceover at the beginning of 1923, which I thought was an interesting nod.
Yeah, so they, it's very like her voiceover to me, right from the very beginning, it sounded to me like she was reading her diary, like it's retrospective, right? And that is, to me, was a giveaway that something is going to happen to her, right? Or at the very beginning. And so I of course, didn't know what that was, but that kind of kept me pinned the whole time, like wondering, because the story, your synopsis is about accurate, but if you dive a little deeper, the story is really about her and her, I don't know, I guess sort of like a wild spirit is not the right way to say it, but adventurous, awestruck with the world kind of a spirit. She's just absorbing it all in, and she's fascinated by the whole world and all of the things that are in it, including the danger. Like she's aware that things are dangerous, and she's, I guess, appropriately afraid of the things that are dangerous, but she doesn't try to hide herself from that. She's willing to accept that as part of the journey.
Right.
Which again, I thought was great. And her language and all of that is very romanticized and very flowery and all of that stuff. Right.
Yep.
And to me, I know that's what you were, you and one of your buddies doing, like, oh my God, really? And I see that. I really do.
Let me, I'll clarify.
Okay. And let me just say this part first. I was going to say is that I took that as totally in character. So that's where I went with it. I not my style, but I took that as, okay, here's this young, innocent girl seeing the world for the first time.
Yeah.
And, really reaching the limits of her vocabulary in order to try to describe some of the stuff that she's seeing.
Right.
So that's how I took it. And I could easily have taken it the other way.
Again, it's not, understand it. My thoughts on it weren't like just a completely immature, like, oh my God, chick talk. It wasn't like that. It was just, and probably in the context of like a 2-hour movie, it's fine. But when you start getting like 7 episodes in, and you got the whole like, and then the thunder cry of the wind, blah blah blah, you're just kind of like, all right, I felt like the grass beneath my feet was carrying me up to heaven, so I could see God, but there was no God. You're just kind of like, but
See, it didn't bug me though. That's what I'm saying. Like
after a little while, and I tell honestly, when my friend pointed out to me, suddenly I was kind of
then
like,
it got worse, right?
It got worse because I was kind of like, yeah, you're right.
Honestly, okay. So let me just tell you this: we watched one episode of 1923, and my wife asked me what I thought of it, and I said I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to do that. I don't want to point stuff out to her, and then she starts seeing it and doesn't like it.
Right. Well. But I honestly went into this whole thing very open minded, and you're right. This is an Elsa story. It is, but it is an Elsa story, and how her journey kind of drives everybody else's journey.
Yeah,
it does. It really, in the end, it does. And if I were to kind of, give you my thoughts on like where the show really arced and where the show really kind of had struggles, or where I felt like it kind of bogged down. And we kind of talked about this a little bit when we talked about Pennyworth, and that you're going to have good ones and you're going to have bad ones when you start having 10, 12, 14, however many episodes, right? I felt that it was very strong out of the gate, there, and I guess, Taylor Sheridan, the guy who makes this, has to take most of the credit. He doesn't pull punches, right? Like all the way through, you had you had the opening scene, like where the Sam Elliot character has to burn his house down because of the smallpox.
Brutal, man.
That's brutal, man. And big spoilers here. His whole thing was, I'll get this done and I'll kill myself. Yeah. And he does. You know what I mean? Yeah. He does. So there's that. But the opening stuff, like where they're in Fort Worth, and it's all, and the way the characters talked, and like that one time where Dutton goes to get his wagon. He's having a conversation with the wagon master and that just seemed very authentic. But also there was some, like, I think, kind of added spice, like the Billy Bob Thornton character.
Oh God, that was one of my favorite scenes in the whole thing, crazy. Man.
We talked a while ago about Billy Bob Thornton and doing the Bad News Bears, and how he really wasn't meant for that.
Dude, he's like a home run or a dud. Yeah, I can't find middle ground with that guy.
And when he read the script for that, he's like, hell yeah, I want to do this all day long. I'll do this all day long. And so and then there was kind of the start, the parts where, like, Elsa, like probably 6, 7, 8, where they were kind of having Elsa kind of sow her wild oats, before she died. I will tell you one thing that spoiled it for me, and it was completely unavoidable, or kind of sort of, is I was curious about the actress. I thought the actress was really great, so I searched out the actress, and I think the first line in the article about the actress was how she felt about when her character died in Yellowstone, or in 1883. And I was like, I hadn't finished watching it yet. I was like. Right. And I knew she got shot with an arrow, but I didn't know that she had died, right? And so the whole time I'm just kind of waiting for that inevitability.
So that's interesting, because to me that's unfortunate, because one of the things I was going to say is the way they handled her death was awesome, and I mean leading up to it, because they developed her character to like beat all the odds,
right?
Like. She falls in love with one of the cowboys, and then he gets killed, and she overcomes that, and then falls in love with an Indian, right? And then have to get separated, but she still maintains a good attitude through all of that stuff. And so she's not normal in terms of like your average person going through the emotional craziness, right? So you always have this little bit of hope, even when at the end of, I want to say it was episode 8 maybe, where she was riding side by side with her dad, and her dad looked at her, and she had commented through the narrative that that's when I knew I was going to die. Right. And then it goes, it's a cliffhanger, and then you wait till the next episode. But even after that, you're still thinking to yourself, like, well, maybe she's going to make it. And even to the point, like when they the two of them ride off at the very end, you're still thinking like, who knows? Maybe she's going to fall asleep and come out of it, break the fever or whatever. But because they do a couple of times, like when the Indians help her, and all of that. I mean, she's on the road to recover, starts feeling better. So they tease you with that a lot. And then storytelling wise, great thread, man. Those were great threads. Not red herring things, but they were good ways to manipulate the audience into keeping that little bit of hope alive.
Yeah, and so
it kind of sucks that you didn't get to experience that in a clean way.
It did suck. And it kind of, because I did kind of put it down after that. I was like, oh, she dies. I don't care. You know what I mean? So, but even to that point, but again, I don't remember which episode was which, but there was that time where, she's in a dress and now she's wearing blue jeans and now she's riding with the Cowboys and she's just kind of doing whatever she wants. And, she's back talking her mom and she's being defiant. I thought when the aunt like slapped her on the train, that was another really amazing scene.
Oh man,
that was great.
I agree. I'm going to interject here real quick and tell you that again, I'm almost 85-90% story.
Yeah.
Right. Actors were great. Production was fan-frickin-tastic, I thought. Even the music was good, I thought.
Yeah.
But the story was the king in this for me. And to be able to write something where you absolutely hate that woman in the first episode. I mean, she is 100% bitch, man.
Right.
In the next episode, you feel so much empathy for her.
Right.
That is amazing writing.
Yeah, but
so for those, I'm going to just spoil it, okay?
No.
So for those who don't know, her aunt, they're traveling together to Fort Worth to meet Dad, and so her and her mom are on the train with her cousin and her aunt, and she's defiant on the train, right? So again, she's kind of like back talking mom, and she wants to play poker or something like that with the guys or whatever.
She wants to go sit with a guy. Yeah. Not in a girlfriend way. She wants to go sit like in first class.
Yeah. So mom is trying to keep her in line. She sassed him back a little bit. So the aunt reaches over and slaps the shit out of her.
Well, first the mom goes, how would you control her?
Yeah. And then
and she goes, okay.
Yeah. And the aunt just slaps the shit out of her.
A couple times. Yeah. And she starts,
And then you I mean, because you've already kind of developed a little bit of a liking for her as a character, right? I mean, this is the first 15 minutes of the show. So, but then you're like, oh, that chick is a bitch, man. And then to make it worse, her daughter, the embodiment of her, is super snarky, man, just like entitled shithead,
right?
And you're like, oh my God, this runs in the family, and you hate that woman.
Right.
And then throughout the all of their interactions on the beginning of the journey and all of that, it just builds and builds, and like everything she does, you're like, God, this woman is a fucking horrible person.
Right.
Then the guys are away doing something, and the camp gets raided before they even leave Texas.
Right.
And her daughter gets killed, and she just literally crumbles in agony. And then you discover later on that this is not her first child that she's
lost like 8.
Yeah, and her husband.
One.
Yeah, and her husband.
Yeah.
And so
well, let me interject with something too. But she did cause the people to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
but with that said, I agree with everything you've said.
Yeah. But then, like they're everybody's like, well, shit, we got to go, man. We got to go to get to Oregon before we get trapped in snow, right? This is like we have to go.
Also, the people that they killed, the town was going to come to them.
Going to come after them.
Come after them. That was a recurring theme in this thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
People off and having to run.
Yeah. So they're like, hey man, we got to go, and she's like, I'm not going. And her sister, Elsa's mom, is just like, what do you mean? She's like, what the hell am I going for? There's nothing to go for. And then she shoots herself in the meadow, and you're just like, oh shit, man! You cannot help but feel sorry for that woman at that point, man.
And there was layers to that too. Like I like how Dunn said something like, it was like a coward's way, and
afterwards that's what he said.
And then Sam Elliot's character was like, that woman's not a coward. Man. Yeah, that woman's not a coward, because he wanted to do the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
He chickened out. It's like the characters were very multifaceted.
Yes.
Every one of them was. Every one of them, and because they made bad decisions.
Yep, and they suffered some consequences for those bad decisions.
So as she's kind of going forward through the story, as Elsa's kind of moving through the story, that did wear thin on me a little bit. The fact that like she was just, kind of, just doing whatever, and that's fine. But I did kind of question, like, hey, in the real world, in the real 1983 Wild West, would her parents be like, no, you're not having sex with a Native American unless you want to freaking stay here, right?
Right.
No, don't fuck the cowboy.
Yeah,
don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. you know.
Well, her
But
mom tried to. I think her mom tried to stop her, right? But
yeah, but again, this whole thing was just kind of like, but so part of me there was just like the narration. I was a little bit like, you know, fine. To your point, so much of that was just I love westerns.
right.
I can if you give me 5 minutes of Sam Elliott being Sam Elliott, I kind of like I can watch 55 minutes.
You know, it's interesting, man, because I'm going to contradict a couple things you said here.
Well, wait, let me finish.
Okay,
My
go.
thought. Let me finish my thought. So, but it wasn't until like we get to the last episode where they, you know, the Dutton and I think it's Bray. I can't remember. I can't remember. It was, I think it was Bray was the Sam Elliott character, but they were talking, and she was Shay Brennan. So when Shay and James were talking, uh, and uh, and and he made the point that Shay made the point that you know she'd lived more life than any of us have lived, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and we had a chance to kind of witness that.
Mm-hmm.
So so it kind of mitigated my like oh god, those 4 episodes where she's kind of going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get it a little bit now.
Right.
We needed her to do that.
Yes.
Where she is now. And I agree to your point that she just seemed to be able to dodge bullets until she couldn't dodge bullets anymore.
Yeah.
And I like the last episode because we, you know, in you know, in a comic book movie world, we actually got to just watch stuff play out, and we were very much observers rather than,
Yes.
you
They
know,
didn't take you along for the
no,
ride.
you just watch,
Yeah, you were a
that
fly on
girl,
the
you
wall
watch
stuff.
that
Yeah.
girl die during
Yeah.
that whole episode,
Yeah.
right? And you know, and I was kind of waiting for like maybe at the end of the movie or at the end of the show to have like an uplifting moment where like, and this is, you know, this is
It all
Yellowstone,
turned out
you know,
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is where now this is why, but no,
Yeah. Nope. So
I
just
mean,
leave you hanging with your guts in your mouth, man.
and yeah, and also one other quick point is settlers need to know when to listen, man. That's another thing too about that. Those lemmings, man.
Yeah.
I just
Well, I
watched.
have thoughts on that as well.
Well, I thought, you know, hey, don't drink the water, don't touch the rattlesnakes, stay right here. And
Right.
every
Right.
time,
You know, the bad shit
every
happened. Yeah.
time every time they were like, don't do this with the horses, don't get under the wagon wheel, don't do all
Right.
this kind of stuff. He would tell them that, and they would do it, and one of them would die.
Right.
And at the end, one only like the gypsy woman and the guy with no one leg.
One leg survived. Everybody else is gone. Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody else died.
Yeah.
So,
Which is interesting. So
yeah.
what I was going to say though is that I actually thought that the Fort Worth section of the show was my least favorite. That was kind of like my least favorite. To me, that felt too like traditional Western-ish. You know what I mean? It wasn't totally, but compared to the rest of this, I thought that was the weakest part of the story. I understand why it's there. Of course, they have to introduce those characters and kind of give you little backstories to how they got connected and stuff. But on the settlers not listening, I was irritated through the whole thing, and I'm curious. We'll never know for sure, but I'm curious if you went back in time, because Sam Elliott never explained anything. He just told him to do shit.
Right.
He never told him why. Like, hey, you know, make sure you do this because if you don't, you're going to get crushed by the wagon. Right. He never said that.
Right.
He just said, push the wagon. And then he said, and one guy decides he's going to push the wheel and it's too late. And Sam tells him not to do it. And he gets fucking crushed. And then he gets pissed. Like, he goes, you listen to him. Like, you didn't fucking tell us what to do. You're just yelling at everybody.
Well, and the thing about Sam Elliott's character is, boy, he's not perfect, man.
Yeah, no,
he's
God,
completely
no.
not perfect. He admits how bad he is at a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Well, he's the one. The reason, you know, if you want to get right down to it, the reason Elsa got shot by an arrow was because he rode up on that massacre.
Yep.
And he knew he screwed up.
He screwed it up.
He screwed it up. You know.
He screwed it up.
And so.
But again, so again, let's take it all the way back out of the film and compare this with so many things that you've seen in the past. I would say even longer than 10 years, maybe. Nobody makes movies with that stuff in it anymore. Super flawed characters that know they're flawed and they can't fix themselves.
Right.
He's trying. He's hustling. He knows he knows the responsibility and the weight on his shoulders, but he can't. He's doing the best he can do, and he's still fucked up, and he knows it. And same with everybody around him. Like I thought that Tim McGraw was awesome in this, and I thought Faith Hill was also amazing in this. I love both of them. I don't know, maybe you call them professional performers, right? So they got acting kind of built in when you go on stage and stuff, but. To emote the way that they were doing in this film, I thought was great. And to me, the credit for that goes to the director. because the director read the script and he knew what he wanted to see, and he got it out of these guys, all of them as actors.
Yep.
The one character that I'd say that I didn't like until way, way at the end was his counterpart, the black guy.
Yeah.
His real name is weird, Lamarian or something like that.
Something like that. His character's name is
LaMonica Green.
Thomas is the character's name.
LaMonica Garrett.
Yep.
Yeah, that's his name. And I thought he played, I mean, as an actor, I thought he did a great job. I just didn't really like that character. And he was like the sidekick kind of for Shay.
Yeah.
He was the voice of reason for him oftentimes.
That's exactly what he was.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was. Yeah. So
I get that, but
he was the Greek choir. He was
he was the Greek choir, yeah. But towards the end I liked him more. And I really liked how they hooked him up with the gypsy woman. I thought that was a really interesting, odd pairing, but really interesting.
Right.
Because, and again, they didn't just make it like the angels are singing and those two fell in love. It was totally out of necessity that they connected.
Right.
And they really had to work hard to make that relationship even kind of function. And she was explaining some of the softer sides of life to him, and he was explaining some of the harder sides of life to her. And so there was a really nice little give and take as their relationship kind of grew and developed. So I thought that was really good. Again, that's just shit you don't see in movies, and the people they don't take the time in stories nowadays to go in that depth into characters and emotive and stuff. They just blast through and expect you to kind of like assume it all. And I don't like.
I think some of the characters definitely, the characters were like, again, multifaceted and flawed and all that, and I appreciate that. There was probably a little bit there was some cliche stuff. I think probably has, we always kind of fold in like, is there any kind of wokeism in this and that kind of stuff? And for the most part, not really. I mean, one could probably argue that like Elsa's a bit of a girl boss, but clearly,
Well, so my thoughts on that, and I just was having this discussion a couple of days ago with somebody at work. She went to see Barbie and was telling me about Barbie. And I had pointed out to her a while ago about 1883. And one of the things I really liked about the Elsa character is, she was a strong female character, but it wasn't at the expense of anybody else.
Right.
Like her father was a very strong character.
She respected the hell out of her father. Yeah.
And Sam Elliot was a very strong character.
She respected all the men.
All the guys. They worked hard.
Yeah.
They were stand-up people.
Right.
But that didn't mean that she couldn't be. And same with her mom. Her mom was tough as shit, man.
Right.
So I like the fact that she could be a good female role model without making the guy look like an idiot. And that's what this woman was saying, like, oh, now you pointed that out. I guess there was a scene in the Barbie movie where they got a flat tire and some dude was driving a Jeep and he got a flat and he didn't know how to change. Didn't even know what the spare tire was for. Right. I thought that was just for decoration. That literally that stupid.
Right.
And it's like, that is totally unnecessary.
Right.
So and this didn't do that at all.
No, and she was flawed, and she like they let me think. Most of the male characters that were kind of like the two cowboys, the three cowboys, all of them, they were great. They had no issue. Obviously, like I said, multifaceted. The Sam Elliot character, his sidekick, the Tim McGraw, all those characters, they were great, and she respected all of them. But there was a thing where if you were going to have a bad guy, it's going to be a white guy. You know what I mean? And all the Native Americans were like noble savages. There was no real bad Native American in there. But I think that's almost a requirement. So if you were to rate this,
well, I don't know. So the one that shot her with the arrow, she killed him. She shot him in the head. But they lumped his whole tribe in as bad guys at the end when that other Indian that was trying to help them, when he said, they dipped their arrows in manure to make sure that it's a kill shot.
Right.
And so that's like, in our culture, that's like, oh, that's dirty. That's dirty warfare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But when the opportunity for them to really throw down, they stopped attacking her because, she admitted that she had been married.
They were going to sell her. That's why they stopped attacking her.
But no, because you remember that she said she was married to a Comanche, and she started saying her name in Comanche, and then they realized that she was kind of.
Yeah, but the dude was going to sell her.
Oh yeah, he was.
And so,
Yeah, it was,
that was her.
but that was all a misunderstanding. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I
okay,
know.
but yeah, still,
But again, like I said, the individuals that just wiped out the tribe, they
yes,
were clearly evil.
yeah.
But
But they,
anyway,
it was vengeance for
yeah.
what they thought, whatever. Yeah,
But my point was that, like, well, anyway, on a scale of like 1 to 5 wokeism, this would be a
yeah,
1. You
yeah,
know what I mean? It's not
definitely.
that much.
Yeah,
But there are certain things they make nods to because it's
yes,
kind of the safe thing to do.
yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, I mean, you say best thing in 10 years. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was definitely a peak and valley type ride.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the middle, for one, it was just kind of hard to watch these people on this
On the wagon
caravan
train.
die
Yeah,
like one after. I was like,
yeah.
oh my god, what now? A stampede? Oh god, now a tornado? Holy shit! What's that? Oh,
That tornado
drought?
scene
Oh,
was awesome.
what's now? So, well, that guy's wife got bit by the rattlesnake, or no, he fell
He
off.
got he got
He fell
bit by
off.
the
Yeah, I was just like,
rattlesnake. Yeah,
jeez, that's like my
yeah,
favorite character. I felt
yeah.
so bad for that guy.
Yeah, that guy was cool, man,
Yeah, it
because
was.
again, he was multifaceted, very, very
Yeah,
subtle,
yeah,
because he was very much out of his element, and he was trying to follow Sam Elliot
yeah.
and all of that. And every once in a while he'd get frustrated and stand up for himself and stuff, but
Right.
then fall right back in the line is like he knows he
Yeah.
needs the help to get where he's going and stuff.
Yeah.
But
But those pioneers, though, man, they on this show they lived to die. They
yeah.
did. There was even, like, they started one episode where I think they killed like 5 of them right in a row.
Yeah.
One of them get bit by a rattlesnake, get mauled by a mountain lion,
Right.
drink bad water, get a wagon rolls over them, something like that.
I think
So,
it's interesting in terms of, like, they show you how difficult the trails really
yeah,
were, and that
yeah.
kind of stuff. So I get all of that, but there was a few memorable scenes for me in the midst of all of that, and one of them was the water crossing.
Oh, rough, yeah.
That was, and again, I just don't. Maybe people didn't think this way back then, but to me, it seems illogical that you would let these idiots drive their wagons across the river. Why not take them one by one with an experienced guy driving?
Right,
And that would kind of make sure that you get them all across.
right.
That's not like 21st century thinking. That's just like common sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe like he said, you guys got to start learning or you're going to die. Maybe that was like, you got to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm not sure.
And that one woman died like in 4 feet of water or something like that. It was just very hard to watch, man.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
But I would say I would, if somebody asked me about it, I'd recommend it. To definitely to watch all the way through. It's definitely probably one of the better things I've watched in the last couple of years. I'll tell you that. Because really, like we said, most stuff on TV or now doesn't really grab me. So
Yeah.
but
I think I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy the series and keep it because I liked it that much. I'll definitely watch it numerous times.
I love the Western stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's my favorite genre for sure.
Man, it's really good. Yeah. So, we'll do something on Westerns. Well,
yeah.
Well,
so 1923, we'll watch at some point in the near future and get some takes on that. I did see the first episode and I already have thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
Might as well. Might as well. It's either that or YouTube videos. So,
I could definitely watch some YouTube videos.
All right. Well, let's leave it there. Let's
Okay.
We're right.
Oh wait, no, we always do the 1 to 10. 1 to 10.
Oh, 8.
10.
Yeah.
I
say 8. I mean, I'm leaning 7, 8.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm solid 10. I can't think of anything that I could really pick apart about it.
Like I said, the things, there were things I think it was probably probably a little longer than it needed to be. I know they had to get 10 episodes in the can, but it's probably a little longer than it needed to be. Yeah, the narration was sometimes a little rough for me, but other than that, it was. I think if you would have got me to the second to last, the penultimate episode, I probably would have been closer to like 6.
Okay.
And then the last episode, only because I just appreciated the fact that they really just kind of brought it all together. It all made sense. You know what I mean? It all made sense why they did a lot of the stuff I didn't like early on it. So yeah, I'd give it a 7 or 8.
And the last thing I'll comment I'm going to make here, like I said, I'd totally give it a 10. And one of the things that pushes it into the 10 category for me is her death scene.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so freaking good. You never, ever see that in movies nowadays, right? It's always like super dramatic, blah, blah, whatever. But I mean, she literally just leaned back in her dad's arms and was just faded.
Yeah.
And that hard to film, hard to act,
right.
hard to direct, hard to get it right. I can wonder how many times they shot that.
Gosh.
But it was so like subtly emotional, but in a subtle way. Like because you could see it coming from miles away. You knew it was coming. And it still happened, and there's no savior, and it's still like I said, they leave you, and then that's it. It's over, and then you're like, holy shit! Like you said, there's no like little silver bow at the end to say, here, go feel better.
So watching that man's pain, that mother's
rough,
pain,
dude.
man,
Yeah,
you're just like, because boy, they really played it well, man.
They did.
Also, and we're getting back into it, but where the Faith Hill character, like Dutton sends Sam Elliot to her and says
to go tell
her that I'm leaving because
I'm going to take her daughter away from her.
And she says she's just pissed, and she says, I can't believe that the cowardice of that man, and Sam Elliot says, that man's no coward. You know what I mean? He's like, he's no coward. But
you can imagine what again. This is how I know I watched a good a story is because I got like, oh, can you imagine that with this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
If I don't give a shit, then I don't do that, right? So I'm just thinking to myself, can you imagine what she was thinking and feeling when she had to say goodbye to her, knew she was never going to see her again,
right?
It's freaking heart-ripping, man.
Raw, man. So
I kept wondering, like, why don't they leave the little boy with Sam Elliot and they both go?
Me and Melanie were saying the same stuff.
Like, I don't know. They didn't have babysitters in 1883.
I mean, it's like, well, this guy.
Hey, dude, let me borrow your horse. Yeah.
This guy's actually watched like 98 Pioneers die. It's like, leave the boy with him. No.
Yeah.
You stay behind.
That could be. Yeah, that could very well be. Yeah.
He seems pretty solid like 80% of the time. The other 20% of the time when it comes back, we'll be like, sorry about the boy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got bit by a rattlesnake.
Yeah. But the
leg cutting off scene was intense.
Oh Jesus,
God, dude.
That reminded me of Master and Commander. Have you seen that? The same deal when they amputated that guy's leg.
Oh my gosh, rough.
Oh gosh,
I love it. Man. Well, he's knocked out. You think he's gonna go? Oh, he's waking up.
Oh, he's gonna wake up. Oh God.
All right. We're going off on a tangent. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and you have a great day.
I hope you enjoy 1883.
You'll love it. All right, time to do another outro. This is probably my least favorite part of doing podcasting, and you're probably like, why? Why, Tony? Why is this your least favorite part? Well, because I suck at it. I always screw it up. This is take 87 or something, and I'm about to lose my mind. With that said, let's just go ahead and roll right into it. What do you need to know right now? Well, we're creeping up on podcast 60 if we're not already past that, and that's kind of crazy. So you're probably thinking, how do you pull that off? Well, Doug and I have known each other for 30 years. And we'll probably still be hanging out 30 years from now, and if not longer, and we put up with each other's BS. So there's really no reason to stop. At least I don't think there is. We enjoy talking about culture, society, and entertainment, and especially through that weird retrospective perspective lens. And I'm kind of hoping you do too. And I'm guessing you do because you're listening to this right now. If you do, please like, share, and subscribe. Helps a ton. Liking, sharing, and subscribing on whatever platform you're on just basically gets our show out there. Other things you can do, if you have a show idea and you're probably thinking, I got an idea, but I bet money they wouldn't talk about it. Try me. Send me the idea. Drop it in the comments. Send me an email. Weirder the better. I do like a challenge. What else if you can do? If you want to be on the show, you want to be a guest, or you know somebody that might want to be a guest, you got a story you want to tell, something you want to put out there, or maybe you just want to be part of this stupid conversation, by all means, let me know. I'll definitely reach out to you. Email's the best. Finally, I just want to say thank you very much for spending a little bit of time with us. We really, really do appreciate it. I definitely appreciate the fact that you're keeping that analog spectrum spirit alive, and I look forward to seeing you next time.